did have a dream. I had a bad dream that Kick-Ass 2 was playing at midnight, and we decided to go see Only God Forgives. I was like, Kick-Ass 2 came out tonight? Oh my god.
We could have seen that. What's up, Ramblers? Last night, me and fellow Renegade Cinema writer Aidan Myles Green saw two films. One, Nicholas Winding Refn's Only God Forgives, and James Mangold's The Wolverine.
Guess which one sucked?
Balls. So since we have a guest today, this guy right here, doing something special for him, Miles. You do the honors.
David Fincher, color correction. And now we can begin.
So, Miles, why don't you give us a synopsis of Only God Forgives?
Only God Forgives is the sequel to Blade Runner, in which robots run around with human skin pretending to be real people. It stars Rutger Hauer as Julian, a proprietor of the Bangkok criminal underworld. When his brother's killed, his mom pressures him to get revenge against the crooked cop who did it.
Or at least that's what we think.
Brandon, what did you think of Only God Forgives?
Only God Forgives is... I wish...
Only God damn it.
Only God damn it. I wish someone could forgive Nicholas Winding Refn.
No one can.
No one can. Not even God. Only God Forgives. Like, we came out of the theater feeling just... We felt dead.
We felt violated.
Violated and
we didn't
dead
feel like
inside.
people. We had to go straight from Only God Forgives to the Wolverine, and the whole time we had headaches. We didn't know what was wrong. The lady who sold me my popcorn asked me if there was some...
Yeah, that's what was wrong with him.
It was just...
It was physically painful. And the thing is, we both are fans of Drive. Like hell.
Look at the jacket.
He's wearing the Drive.
But Only God Forgives felt like being violated by a robot prostitute. It was unsatisfying on many levels.
And cold, emotionless.
Cold and clammy and like inside of you.
There's so many problems. Like, don't get us wrong. There were some, like, there's the cinematography.
Cinematography is fantastic. Brandon was calling it visual vomit, but we corrected ourselves because it's cinematic vomit.
Cinematic vomit.
Visually, it's very interesting and very well done. And there's some Nicholas Winding Refn flares with synth music and the Cliff Martinez score.
One synth music thing that we actually got. I felt like the entire movie, like, this is kind of how we were sitting.
What's wrong with your movie? We were pretty much holding out hope for the fight scene that's barely glimpsed in the trailers, but by that point,
we were just dead. This film's an hour and a half long, and it feels like it's a 3-hour ordeal.
Last time I went to this theater was to see Terrence Malick's The Tree of Life. Felt half as long as this movie. By the time the fight rolls along, the fight only lasts about 30 seconds, and it's... We counted there. Ryan Gosling says 22 lines of dialogue in the entire film.
And
we joked that it made Drive. Thinking about normal movies after this film, it made Drive look like a Hollywood action blockbuster. There's so much dialogue. So much dialogue in Drive.
There's tension. There's characters. There's people in this movie, not robots.
This is like taking all the dialogue out of Drive, if that hadn't worked. That's what this.
If it hadn't worked, it didn't work. And Richard Roper, he adores Drive. He adores Drive. And he adores
this film as well.
But he adores Only God Forgives. And don't get us wrong, we're smart people.
We're smart people.
We're smart people.
We work for a movie website.
And like
we're trusted with opinions.
And we just couldn't get into it. It just seems.
And that's the thing, is we were giving it the benefit of the doubt in a Nicholas Winding Refn way in the first 30 minutes because, sure, we might not be able to get into it
yet,
but we're like, okay, it's a slow film, it's an art house film, but at a certain point, there's a time when a film has to be a film and has to have certain trademarks like characters in a story, and you just can't rely on these things. You can't rely on these flimsy characterizations or the story. It was just bad.
When did you give up?
I gave up. Yeah, we have these moments where we finally just throw our hands in the air.
We gave up and said, "F it, this is pretty bad."
But we stayed in the movie. There were walkouts, but we stayed. I gave up when the Thai police chief, who's supposed to be the bad guy, but doesn't do anything bad.
Slow walkie katana?
Slow walkie katana man.
That's what I call him.
Multiple scenes of him singing karaoke and walking into Thai dawn with his katana.
He's a slow walking.
Katana man.
Katana man.
I gave up when he circled the room. Okay, chopstick scene. No, spoiler. Attacks someone with chopsticks. Circles the room, thinking he's gonna do something ominous and scary and surprising. He circles the room and looks down and gets another pair of chopsticks and sticks them in another part of the bar.
There's no shortage of sharp objects in this like karaoke bar. There's a sharp. He's pulling sharp objects out of bowls. Everything. Apparently, that's how things are in Thailand.
That's how things are in Thailand.
I gave up when about like the fourth time around where he was slow walking. Mm-hmm. Both of our like things are when he was on screen.
Right.
When we gave up.
Right. And when we judged, he had, I think, 3 lines of dialogue at the beginning.
Everyone else spoke for him. Everyone else spoke for him.
He doesn't talk for the rest of the film.
Which it's not necessarily bad.
It's like Refn wanted us to say that as an impressive thing. Like, yeah, man, he was a bad guy, but he didn't even talk.
He didn't have to be spoken for.
It didn't work.
It didn't work. And like, it's a surprise. I can't stress this enough. We loved how Drive was. Mm-hmm. Barely any dialogue. The majority of that dialogue in that film was done by.
It's because, and there's some flourishes of that in this movie where it does only what it needs to be effective. Like when he's recounting the crime scene, mm-hmm. and you know he's going to talk about the crime scene, so it doesn't say what he's saying, and it just plays music while he's miming it.
Pans in on the.
That works. That kind of stuff works perfectly. But you can't substitute. You can't do that at any point with characterization because we need to know what the characters are.
And actually, when people started talking in this movie, is when it started getting really sick.
That was an event. It was an event when people talked. So you were like, yes, they're gonna talk, and then they did, and you're like, never mind, just shut up again.
Go back to not talking, guy.
I told Brandon,
it came to a point where I was literally. I couldn't contain my laughter.
Yeah.
Because it felt everything was so awkward in that one dialogue scene that we're talking about.
Yeah.
You'll know which one it is if you see this film. It's only in select theaters right now, I think.
It's not going to expand.
It's not going to expand.
Drive barely expanded, and that was very mainstream compared to this. This was
bad.
We were saying that like people came out of Drive saying, yeah, I mean Ryan Gosling must have had like only 50 lines in that movie. That's how many there are overall in this.
That's how many overall.
It's an hour and a half. There are maybe 50 lines spoken.
A lot of it's just slow pan and stuff.
I mean,
a lot of it.
The cinematography is beautiful, but we're wondering how they put together a shot list or knew what they needed because the script must have been 45 pages long. I want to ask. I want Nicholas Winding Refn to explain it to me because it's like I want
to like it.
I want to like it, but
both want to like it.
I can't imagine it ever making sense because it's like it just doesn't have things that movies are supposed to have to. I mean, we're all for art cinema and auteurs and everything, but you can't have a main character that speaks 20 times in the film with one word. That just doesn't work.
It doesn't. So basically we're saying it's film of the year.
Pretty much.
I don't usually give ratings, but I feel like this one does need it. I'm gonna give it 2 slow walking katana men out of 10.
Stole my rating.
Yeah.
Kind of. I'm giving it 2 laps around the karaoke bar to find sharp chopsticks out of 10.
There we go.
Cinematography was excellent. Some of the music choices, obviously the score by Cliff Martinez is great, but it just cannot. It's like if a film student tried to recreate Drive.
It's the bastard child of Drive.
It is.
But thank goodness, we had something that day that was able to give us a little hope for anything cinema because we felt so dead after that.
We did. We didn't feel like people. We felt violated the entire time going to this film.
Mm-hmm. But thanks to James Mangold, we have a film about a character. An actual character.
Wait, do people talk?
People talk, and there's not just spanning shots and characters talking. Okay, it's called. We saw this. It's called this. I don't know if y'all heard of it yet. The Wolverine.
Oh.
The Wolverine.
The Wolverine.
We feel happy talking about this.
Yeah, we feel happy talking about it because first of all, we feel like human beings. Second of all, it was a great movie.
It was good.
It was a great movie.
It totally I guess after that one film we're gonna put right here in the court up here. We're not gonna say his title. Kind of everyone over on the character of Wolverine, and they wanted to give him something that made him Wolverine again. Mm-hmm. And this film makes him Wolverine again.
It felt like a director, James Mangold. It felt like he watched X-Men Origins Wolverine and he had the exact same sentiments that we did. And he wanted to direct a Wolverine film. And it felt like he truly cared and was truly trying to take care of the character. Obviously, he had some directives as to where it was supposed to go. And when I heard it was happening after X-Men 3, I was worried for two reasons. One, because
it was happening after X-Men 3.
One, because it acknowledged that X-Men 3 exists. And two is because just didn't seem like the best story choice. I was kind of wishing they'd redo the beginning part of his life, but this was fantastic, and what it dealt with, and the themes it talked about, and just overall the feeling of the entire film. It like fantastic things happen, and like you
don't feel they're not silly.
They're grounded. It's kind of like the first Iron Man, to where you know
what? That's actually a really good
where a guy can't build a suit like that. It's kind of cartoony when they're fighting, but everything is so grounded that
it was
fantastic.
It makes it so much better. And the opening sequence to this film, I didn't expect that.
I didn't expect that at all.
Jarring and kind of scary from that perspective.
The trailers make it look a little bit silly,
and
but
cartoony.
It's not that. I think maybe they had to do that because when you get to the theater and watch it, you're like,
oh wow,
shit,
this is not what I'm expecting.
Wolverine movie.
But to get people in the theater, they have to get past that.
You're like, if I would have written a Wolverine movie, I would have written that scene, and I wouldn't have written that because I wouldn't have even thought of that.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Like
it takes its time at the beginning. There's pacing. There's brutality, which a Wolverine movie desperately needs.
Needed it desperately.
And we're not the guys that thought
and barely any CG claws.
Yeah.
And none of that.
Yeah. No CG claw. We're not. We're the guys who. You'll find reviews on Rotten Tomatoes of the X-Men Origins Wolverine. Oh, it's a harmless. It's one of those bad superhero movies. We found it offensively bad. It's one of the worst films I've ever. It's on my top 3 worst of all time.
It rapes the character Deadpool.
And yeah, aside from that, he shouldn't be in it. It's X-Men Origins Wolverine, and it doesn't make sense.
Well, because they try to relate it to Weapon X, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, but it's like more like X-Men mutants, and then the Weapon X scene lasts for 5 minutes, and they cut surgery lines on him, even though they just stick needles in him.
Then there's the naked running.
Naked waterfall jump.
Naked waterfall jump.
Then there's Ma and Pa Kent. CGI claws. Wacky bathroom cutting up.
There is Ma and Pa Kent. Then they get blown up.
He runs into their. No, she gets hit by a sniper in the fucking head.
Sniper. That was mean.
Like, Clark, you're meant for great.
Just kapoof. Headshot.
It's like if Zod's truck had actually hit Ma Kent.
Oh man, that would have been bad.
Yeah.
For the record, we love Man of Steel.
Don't say that. Then people can fucking turn it off.
Yeah.
Because apparently we're crazy.
We're crazy people. But there's one scene that everyone was kind of worried about.
At least we were.
Like the train scene, where it's
the bullet train scene in the trailers that just looked kind of wacky. Wolverine fighting on trains.
It's very, very grounded and
very
awesome.
Very well done.
It was.
I couldn't really tell what was CG. It was very well choreographed, and there's a stylistic choice in the editing that grounds it a lot, much like the Bane Batman first fight in The Dark Knight Rises. How it made it scarier, the choice of no music.
Yeah.
In the Wolverine, they make a similar choice in this scene, and it just turned out to be one of my favorite sequences.
It was my favorite sequence. Like that and the scene before that.
Mm-hmm.
That was really great. Yeah. And like this is the Wolverine film we've been waiting for a while that made him Wolverine.
For a while. It's not the best Wolverine film that could have been made. It's not the R-rated Darren Aronofsky one that we wanted. But you could tell.
It was close. They had to edit some stuff.
They edited it down. You could tell they whittled it down from an R rating. There were certain shots that you could tell, and overall, it just returned me to things I used to like about Marvel movies. Like people cursed, Wolverine cursed. There was blood. He had blood on his claws when he fought people. Little things like that ignite the fanboy in me. But also just narratively, it was a great film.
It was a blood orgy.
It was a blood orgy. It's not the R-rated Darren Aronofsky.
But at least it gets that bastardization out of your head.
It gets the bad taste of X-Men Origins out of your mouth, and it's just
you said it. Damn it.
And it's a great film. The third act is a bit wacky, just compared to the first two and how gritty and just kind of hardcore they are. The third act gets a little silly. So what did you think about Silver Samurai?
He's glimpsed
a little bit in the trailer.
He's glimpsed a little bit in the trailers. This is a big silly robot.
Big silly robot.
Big silly robot.
Big cartoon robot.
Cartoon robot.
Big Wolverine 5-built cartoon
And
robot.
it's no shocker in the thing that...
No, he's not Shocker, he's Silver Samurai.
You're funny. It's no shocker in the film that he's made out of adamantium and stuff, because, like, you can tell. What else could Wolverine fight against?
It's just silly. It's like...
imagine them making the robot, like, saying, okay...
it's just a robot. There's a guy at the end that puts on a samurai outfit and fights Wolverine, and it's gritty, hardcore, and bloody.
Awesome.
Just call him Silver Samurai.
Just call him then there.
Fanboys have proven that changing things to make it cinematically compelling isn't the worst thing in the world.
And then fanboys have always bitched about it, though.
Yeah.
They'll bitch about...
good movies. Like Man of Steel.
And Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
Granted, that I will say that was taking it a little far in Iron Man 3, but it didn't make the entire film awful for me. Right. Iron Man 3 is still fun and awesome.
Right.
Like, and Man of Steel was so great too. Mm-hmm. Like, God forbid someone changed the insy-binsy teeny bit of a character.
It's the underwear.
And
how dare you take my underwear?
All of his underwear off. But anyway, yeah, the Samurai was a little silly.
Seven Samurai. Seven Samurai is not silly.
It's great.
Silver Samurai was silly. Viper was a little bit silly. She's glimpsed in the trailers as
Getting
well.
I thought it was. I kind of giggled a little bit when she took her skin off. Like,
yeah.
Like,
a little silly. But the weird thing we noticed about the Wolverine is that at the end, everyone's motivations were a little muddled. We didn't really know what was going on, but we didn't care. I don't know why. It did a weird thing where
because stuff's going on.
Wolverine was the most interesting, and as long as he was on screen, it was like, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm great. He was fantastic in this film. What would you say the Wolverine deserves?
Wolverine is the Wolverine movie fans have been waiting for. It's very cinematically cathartic. Just a great fun time, and it really does justice to the character. You feel like the whole creative team is really trying. My rating would be 7 actually cool katanas out of 10. I'm
gonna go the obvious route. I'm gonna give it 7.5 Wolverine claws.
Lame. 7.5 naked waterfall jumps out of 10.
So I want to thank our guest here today, Aidan Myles Green, this guy right here, for letting us use his facilities, his house, to film this Let's Get Rambling in, and also for having him on the thing. Thank you, Miles.
You asking me?
Yeah, thank you. I'm saying thank you to you. And the audience says thank you. The Ramblers are saying thank you.
Movies that deserve more love.
Yeah, that's one of his articles on the site. I suggest you look at it. But also, if you'd like to, please hit the subscribe button right here in the middle. Here, Miles, would you want to point to that too? It's in the middle. Use your other hand. That word. That right here. The subscribe button to subscribe to Renegade Cinema to get films like this every Saturday now. We've been moved to Saturday for your enjoyment. And then hit up the Renegade Cinema website so you can get articles written just for you, the people. And as always, I'm Brandon Groper with Renegade Cinema.
I'm Aidan Myles Green with Renegade Cinema.
Signing off.